It's Christmas Day. My name's Corey, CV Sahara. Behind me is my often worked on, seldom wheeled Jeep. Jeep TJ to be exact, 99 model. But I decided to get out here on Christmas, as you can tell by my attire, and start doing some things that for the new year I'm going to make some videos of, which is me fixing some of the things I've ran into over the last couple years on working on this Jeep, where I've either rigged it up a little bit or maybe didn't quite finish the project the way I should have. And that's going to be ongoing. I may do a little bit of fixing and let it ride, and then a little more fixing and things like that. So probably still won't fix it all at once, because there's a lot that I get excited to move on to the next project with. It's just my nature. But today we're going to work on the tailgate that I put in a couple years ago. A couple years ago I put a drop down tailgate on this Jeep. It's been great. It's worked perfectly the whole time. I've also done a swing out tire carrier, and I'll talk about that in a minute. And I love it. It's one of the best things I've done to the Jeep, non-functional mod when it comes to wheeling. I have had an issue where the way I put the hinges on, it wasn't the best way. It wasn't well thought out. It was one of the first things I did. I just didn't do it right. Some of y'all called me out on it, and I agreed completely. Hey, you try a little bit, you learn from your mistakes, and then you go back and fix your mistakes. That's the only way you learn. So today I've learned a big lesson to go ahead and buy the right tools and do some things the right way, and it'll save a little bit of trouble in the future. So let me show you what I'm talking about. So the biggest issue with the way I did these hinges is that I tapped the thin sheet metal instead of doing something more permanent. But when you do things quick and cheap, a lot of times you have to go back and redo things, which makes it a little more expensive. In this case, it didn't make it any more expensive, but it did allow me to actually buy a cool tool that I'm going to share with y'all. This is something that some of y'all suggested. I went and checked it out, and it is indeed something I should have done a long time ago. And I would highly suggest anyone that does any type of metal work, go out and buy one of these tools. So the best way to fix what I've done is to take these holes, drill them out a little bit bigger, and put a nutsert. If you don't know what a nutsert is, this is a nutsert, or that's a nutsert. A nutsert basically creates a threaded nut that is squeezed into place. It in effect works as a nut that you don't have to get behind there to put in. It'll squeeze this nut in place. You can see the nut in there. It'll squeeze that in place and hold it in place with these teeth, and of course the pressure once this collapses, and I'll show you how this collapses in a second. The only thing I will have to do is I had a little plate down through here just to reinforce. I'm gonna remove that plate. I never liked it. It didn't look right. But I will still need to cut that plate and use this part of the plate as a spacer, because of the way these cheap hinges I bought work. They have this hump on this side, and so I have a plate down here to counteract that, and so I'll need a plate up here. That way it's flush and flat, which is fine. I just cut the plate that was up there, and I'm going to use that. It's right here. I'll clean it up and repaint it, and then they'll go behind there and everything will be fine. I've already started doing this side. I test fit it just to see, and it is so much better, so much more sturdy. So I'm gonna take this back off, put the other nutserts in, grind this down, and paint this, and then we'll put it all back together on this side. This side will be done really quick. But I'm gonna show y'all kind of how the tool works over here on this side. So here's the nutsert tool. This is an Astro tool, 1452. It's a pretty nice size one. It's pretty sturdy. It's got good reviews. It's not probably not professional grade, but it does the job. I've already put a couple nutserts in with it. I bought it on Amazon. I think it was $57 free shipping, and it came with 5 or 6 different size dies. So the dies are the different size nutserts, which is this threaded portion here. And then it came with also a collection of nutserts. Didn't come with enough for me to do all 8 on each side, but the bottoms are threaded in a lot thicker metal, so I don't have to worry about those right now. I can replace those down the road. They've been super solid. It's just these up in the really thin tailgate metal. But it did come with the ones I'm going to use for up here, and these are M8s. And so the way this works, you fold it out, and that thing gets screwed on there. Now what I've been doing is you have to drill out your hole, and in this case this needs about 7/16. Now with this thin metal, I don't want to really tap it in there too much. I want it to slide in a little bit easier, because I'll dent this metal if I try too hard, if I tap it too hard. But point is, you put that in there, and once that's in there, you screw it in, and you can screw it with this little ball right here. So you get it up there, you widen it out, and then you turn this to unscrew and screw it. Once you get it screwed in, you simply just pull down. So imagine that's in the metal, and those teeth are biting on the metal. And when I pull that, it's going to expand that out and squeeze that down around that metal. And now that nutsert is going to be in there. Now these nutserts, you aren't going to get them out, so make sure that when you put one in, that's exactly where you want it. You could drill it out, I guess, but then you have an even bigger hole. So that's the way the nutserts work. And then at that point, you don't have to worry about tapping the thin metal because it's got a nut behind it that'll stay there, and you can just put your bolt in. Brilliant tool, awesome. Anyone that's ever taken steps off of old TJ, the old stock steps, knows that they're put in with nutserts. So I'm gonna drill these 2 holes out. We're gonna put a couple nutserts in there. I'm gonna put the spacer back up there. We're gonna button everything up, and we're gonna see how it works. All right, here comes the cool part. Ta-da! All right, so I haven't done these 2 yet. I was kind of looking at them to see if where I drill the hole, where to kind of file out, because the holes aren't exactly centered down here near the bottom of these because of where the little lip on the inside is. I kind of drilled them at an angle a little bit. I'm gonna have to file this down to where the nutsert can go in a little bit lower. You can see I put this one in over here, and it's not gonna line up because I drilled the hole exactly where it needed to be. So I'll have to work on this. What I'll probably do is just make this hole bigger and use a nut with a little bit larger head. I'm probably going to change all these nuts from this Allen to a hex style anyway, with a lock washer obviously, and maybe a little bit of Loctite. These haven't come loose at all, but they're double screwed because this is tapped and this is tapped. But I can already tell you it is a lot sturdier than it was. Oh yeah. Yeah, before there was a lot of movement here. Now it's just straight up and down. That's awesome. Oh yeah, used to with a little bit of force, this back one to lift up a little bit where the screws wouldn't tighten up all the way, and now it is solid. It'll be even more solid when I get the other 4 bolts in. So for those that haven't watched the video on my tailgate, it's more than just screwing holes in your tailgate. You do have to have some sort of wire. These are standard, some sort of truck tailgates. I can't remember, S10s maybe, or it might be CJ. I can't remember. Back here I have a reinforcement plate screwed in with a very large nut holding this in, large bolt nut that goes through and is nutted on the backside with a big fender washer as well, sandwiching this. Guaranteed these self-tappers will pull out long before anything up here pulls out. And I did have to use self-tappers on this, which have held really well. I mean, it's solid. And this is aluminum. On this side, I put little nuts and bolts through. I took this off and put actual nuts, so this one's solid as can be. It'll never move. Let's see how she closes. Oh, I like that. That was a nice firm thud. Everything is nice and sealed. I've never had an issue with only having this latch. I thought about putting a latch over here, but forget it. All right, so let's finish these out. Get some more nutserts in there. Now that is a much more clean and sexy look. Beautiful. I'm worried about this one just like the one on the other side, but we'll see if we can make it work. If not, I'll do the same thing. I'll hold this out. We'll take all this off and repaint it. I'm not going to do the repainting today because I'm going to take the bumper, I'm going to take the tire carrier, I'm going to take these hinges all off, and I'll paint them at the same time when I get a little spray booth set up, which should be coming in the next couple weeks. All right, we are done for now. This one definitely isn't going to line up just like the one on this side. I don't know what it is about the far right on each side, but they didn't line up. I mean, I know why they didn't line up. I wonder why it just happened to be the far right one, but I'm just going to drill this out to one size bigger, the actual hinge, and then I'll just put a bolt like this in there. I'm probably going to hex bolts all around. I'm not sure. I kind of like the looks of the Allen bolt, but the ease of having a hex bolt sure does, I think, make it easier. It's already got 2 more bolts in it than what it had before, because I had bolts actually fall out on me. But again, it is super sturdy. I'm 250, I can set on it. 260. Yeah, after the holidays, maybe 265. Hopefully not. It is solid as can be, and it closes with a nice stud, and it is closed. There's no wiggle. There's a little bit of wiggle right there if I really pull, but I'm gonna call that a win. All right, real quick to end the video, let's go over the actual tool that I got. So this is the tool, as I showed you earlier. It's just a nutsert tool. It came with a selection of nutserts. So there's a 3/8 by 16, M10s, M12s, halves. That's massive. I think this is as big as it goes. Half by 13, 5/16, and of course I used all the M8s. The individual dies, I guess that's what you call them, that's what I call them, dies, come in these little boxes. These little child-proof boxes. There we go. And they look like that, and you just take them and replace the head on each one using this special tool right here. Comes with a nice little molded carrying case, which does not have room for all the different dies, but we're going to cram them in there as best we can. So guys, that's it for this video. I should have done that a long time ago. Someone suggested it in the comments of the video where I actually built the tailgate, and they're spot on. Great suggestion. I appreciate it. The next step is going to be to drill out those 2 holes on the hinges so I can fit the 4th bolt in there. Then the bumper's coming off, the tire swing's coming off. I'm taking those hinges back off. Rock guards are coming off, and I'm going to repaint them all with actual paint. That'll make the Jeep look a little bit better. Eventually I'll repaint the entire Jeep once I get decent in painting. I've never painted before, so that's going to be an adventure. But guys, if you have any more suggestions, because again, the nutsert tool is a great suggestion. If you have any more, let me know. I will show everyone the end result when I get done on that, and the tire carrier as well. The whole rear end transformation, as far as from an aesthetics point, will be coming soon. Guys, I appreciate it. I hope you had a Merry Christmas. I obviously did. I got to work on the Jeep. And have a great day, guys. I'll see you later.